My name is Sven, and I'll be doing these webinars, specifically the one today about the RaiseCloud. And I'll just be going through most of the features of the RaiseCloud, showing you by using the website what the possibilities are, what you can do with this software, how you can use it to actually make your life easier when 3D printing with Raise 3D printers, or other ones as well, I guess. The RaiseCloud software is free to use, and there are no plans to monetize it either. So if you haven't gotten on this, well, now would be a good time, because it really is quite helpful, and I quite enjoy the software. I'm going to take my glasses off because they seem to reflect the light quite a bit. So I think this is a bit more comfortable to look at. Let's put it that way. Right. Without further ado, let's actually get right into it. I'm going to click this button. No, that one. So I have the website here, but I'm still more or less visible next to it. So basically, the RaiseCloud is a website where you can create an account for yourself, and you can use it to not only monitor your prints, but control them as well. You can control all the printers. You can monitor your filament use, your printer use. You can have usage statistics, all these things that really make your life a lot easier. First thing you need to do, as I just said, would be to sign up. You would have to enter an email, create a password, first name, last name, location, all of these basic things. I already have an account, so I'm going to go back and actually just sign in into my account. Give me 1 second. After just creating an account, you would have to verify your email, and then you're already all set up, ready to use it. Now, when you log into the RaiseCloud, you get this dashboard. This is the basic overview of your account. And at the top left corner, this is a drop-down menu with teams that you have joined. So after making an account, the next thing you need is a team that you want to be in. And you can either make a personal one for yourself, or you can join your company's team, or you can create a team for your company. Each account can create one team, just one though. So up here, for example, I have my drop-down menu, and I could select. There's my personal one with it, which is just the printer that I have at home. It says here, standby one printer, or I can use our company one, the OKM 3D one, where you can see we have 2 printers on standby, 1 currently printing, and 11 printers offline. So we're not quite utilizing all of them. What else is on this dashboard? Well, it's the filament usage of the past whatever you set it to. So up here, I can change this between 7 days, 14 days, 28 days. And it'll show me how many grams of what filament I have used. Easy way to monitor just resources in and out. Then there's a job status. How many jobs are ready to print, how many jobs are currently printing, how many jobs have been completed, how many are on hold. So if you actually use this in a production environment to monitor job status of multiple work orders, this overview can be quite helpful. Down here, this would be the actual work orders themselves that you can also create within the RaiseCloud. So these 2 here are really for the production environment and monitoring. This one right here shows you the printers. If we had any that were showing error messages, we would have those listed here. If we had any that were finished printing and we're waiting for a new task, that would be here. And then busy would be something such as receiving files, heating up, loading or unloading filament, things that keep the printer busy so you can't print with it, but it's also not turned off and not an error. The team information is one of the, at the same time, one of the most important panels and the most unimportant ones, because once you have everything set up, you don't really need this anymore. But while you're setting it up, this is very important. It not only gives you your team name, it also gives you the team type. There are 2 different types. The first type being an individual team, which has a limited number of members that can join it. and then a company team, which has a larger amount of people that can join it. As far as I know, that's the only difference I found so far, really, is the number of people that are able to join. Neither of them costs anything, and the rest of the workflow functions very similarly. Then we have an establishment date, and then we have binding accounts. Well, to use a printer with a RaiseCloud, you have to bind them together. And how that works, we're going to do that in a minute. There's also an instruction on how to bind a Raise 3D printer and how to bind non-Raise 3D printers. The RaiseCloud is not limited to just Raise 3D printers. And then last but not least, I have a binding key, which is one of the methods we can use to actually bind our printers to the RaiseCloud, and all the team members that are listed. Using this little button over here, I can start inviting people to my team if I had the permission. Now this right here is our company team. I am just a regular user, so I'm not able to invite more people to the team. Instead, for example, if I switched to my own personal one, I could click this button here on invite, and then I can list up to 10 emails of people that I want to invite to this team. Thereby, expanding it, getting more members into it. Now, the cool thing that you can use the RaiseCloud for is, as I've said, controlling printers remotely. So this one right here, this printer is standing at my home a number of kilometers away from here, and I'm currently in the office, and now I want to print something using that printer. So I could just, monitor it. I can click on it. It'll give me an overview. What are the temperatures of the nozzle, the heat bed, the flow rates, fan speed, all of this. What kind of material have I loaded? So you can see I've got purple polylite PLA in the left nozzle, and then I've got regular black PLA. This is actually Raise 3D PLA in the right nozzle. And I can use this information in order to print with it. Clicking on this button. So first, I would have printer settings, which would let me edit this printer. But that's not what I want to do now. I wanted to go back. I wanted to actually print with it. Let me go here. So this is where I can have an overview of this printer. I can turn on or off the lights. I can turn notifications on or off. The camera will eventually connect, and you can see it's all dark because the LED lights aren't on. So I'm going to click LED lighting. I get a success notification in the top, and that'll turn on the lights in the printer. Then the temperatures, as I've said, right now it's not printing anything, so all of this is off. I can preheat it, I can change a number of the settings, and I can turn receive jobs on. Now it is waiting for print jobs. Great. We can also see the light turned on, so that I can see the build plate is clean. I now want to print something. So at the top, instead of printers, which is where I currently am, I will move over to files. You can have personal files, which is under the option My Files, or you can switch to Team Files, and it'll have a list of different files that you may have. You can upload STL files, you can upload G-code files, you can download files from here as well. So you can see there's a download button. When I mouse over them, there's a more options button for each one of these files to move them, to save them to the team files, rename them, copy them, delete them, whatever file management you may need to do. You can also create new folders, you can upload files, you can connect Dropbox or Google Drive files. So all of these regular file management steps that you may want to do. As I've said, these are my files, and then there are team files. There are currently no team files for the Sven team. There are files for the other team. But for now, I actually want to print something, and I've already uploaded a G-code right here. So I could just either look at the G-code, press on the G-code viewer, it'll give me a preview of my model, and I can move through the layers to inspect the G-code. But right now, as I've said, I actually want to print this. So I click on print, and I select the printer that I want to print it on, and it'll give me a preview. How big is it? What is the time needed? What is the file size? And then I can click Start Print Now. Tells me this job will now be printed. Great. Now I get to automatically reroute it to the jobs overview with a job list. And it'll show me that I have one job ready to print. And it'll have this little M because I manually started it. I can also have automatic jobs. It would show an A. If I click on the little plus, it'll expand. It'll show me what printer this is currently printing on. I could hold the job. If I didn't want to print it right now after all, I could delete it if necessary as well. Click on this once again. It'll bring me back to my printer, and now we can see the status has changed to printing. And once the camera connects, we can see that right here. We see current job with all the information that the RaiseCloud has about my specific print job. And the frame rate when connecting remotely isn't that great, but it's good enough to see what's happening. It is currently auto-calibrating the print bed before starting to print. So at the end of the webinar, we might look back in on this to see how the first layer has actually gone. Great. So we've already covered most of the things that are important for basic use. Filament monitoring, starting a print job, managing your files. But let's take it one step further and get a bit more complicated. Because, as I've said, binding a printer is actually the first step you need to do to control it. Here I already had one. This is the one I have at home. It was already connected. Now, for a team that I created for this webinar, the Let's Print Things team of a fictional company named Thingmakers 2000, I've already added 2 other members to this. There's 3 of us in here. And we have absolutely no printers bound. So you can see it's all zeros. We have no jobs lined up, no anything. If I click on the 3 printers tab, there's nothing. However, it does give me, offer me instructions on actually how to bind the printer. And there are 3 basic ways to do this. The first way is to download the binding key via the dashboard. That's down here, 3D printer binding key. Press this button. And then copy it to a USB drive. So something, there we go. Now it has downloaded it. I'm in the way. There's the downloaded file. And I'll need to copy this to a USB stick. That's step 1. The other options are using an account or using a smartphone with the RaiseCloud app. So for the RaiseCloud app, let's quickly just go over that. If I go to cloud.raise3d.com, I get to the start website of the RaiseCloud, and there is a download button at the top that will let me get to the download options. I can, so first step, I need to make sure that my RaiseTouch is up to date on my printers, and then there's the mobile app, and there's, of course, Octoprint for non-Raise 3D printers. So binding a non-Raise 3D printer is a bit more complicated. I'll largely skip over that today, but it is possible. Right, so 3 options. I've already downloaded the binding key, and that is the first step of what we'll do. And now, to actually demonstrate this, let me, right here, I'm stuck on the cable. That's not good. There we go. I'll have 2 Raise 3D printers. I'll turn each of them on. And while I wait for them to boot up, I can now copy the key that I just downloaded from my download directory right here to a USB drive that I already have plugged into the computer. Great. So let me retrieve this USB stick. And now using this, I can bind one of these printers to the RaiseCloud very, very easily. However, it does require a USB drive. It does require me to be able to download this binding key and then connect it to one of these printers. I'll also get the camera remote, so we'll actually just zoom in a bit more. There we go. So I can actually show you what is happening on the screen as I'm trying to, oh, that's the wrong way. I want to do this. And then zoom in a bit more. There we go. I think this should work fine. So I'm going to plug in this USB stick that has the binding key on it. And then I'm going to go into, so it has to already be connected to a network. So this one's bound via Wi-Fi. And now I can click on the settings button in the top right corner, click on more settings down here. And then you can see there's a RaiseCloud option saying not binded. And I'm going to click on that. And now it already gives me the options. So I can either bind with the binding account and password. I can use the binding key, or I can use a QR code. The QR code option is the one that requires a smartphone. For now, I will stick with the binding key. So I'll just click on that. And then it says, please insert the USB stick with the key file into the printer. I've already done that, so I'll click next. And now it wants me to confirm that this is actually the account and the cloud that I want to bind it with. And I just click bind. And it'll do just that. Connecting to the server. And now cloud binding is successful. Click OK. And now if I make myself a bit smaller, down in the camera window a bit smaller down there in the corner, or just actually straight up turn it off so it's out of the way, you can see I now have one printer on standby in this cloud. And if I click on that, that's my E2 that I just bound to the network. 2 spools of black PLA filament in it and all the temperatures listed. So that was step 1. Now, how about step 2? So this one's now bound. Let's zoom out a tiny bit and move over. Nope, that's the wrong direction. Move over to the Pro 2. On this one, I will use the app. Where's my phone? Here it is. And then I will start the RaiseCloud app. Let me switch team into that team right there. So I'll have it here. So in the apps, there's RaiseCloud, and I'll just open that. And it already gives me the overview of all printers that are bound to this team. So the team Let's Print Things, which is the one that we're currently using, I can see now I already have the E2. And in the top right, there's like a little scanning button. And that's what I'll click now. And it'll start having a camera window with a little frame that it wants me to position the QR code in. So again, I will click on the settings, more settings, the RaiseCloud, which it says not binded. Click on that. And this time I will select bind with QR code, causing the printer to load up and display. I will turn it a bit. To load up and display a QR code. Now I simply hold my phone over it so it can scan it. Come on. Not focusing, right? Come on. So there we go. Now it worked. It's found it, and then it wants me to confirm not only which team I want to bind it with. So while before with the binding key, I had to confirm it on the printer screen. This time around, I have to confirm it in the app, and I could either bind it to my personal team, the Sven one, the OKM 3D, which is our main company team, or the Let's Print Things, which is my test team for today. So I'm going to select that one, click confirm. And then the printer already says the cloud account binding was successful. I click OK here, exit the settings. And now on my phone, I have both the Pro 2 that I have right here and my E2 that I bound before. So let's zoom out a bit again so we can actually see me properly. Put my phone aside once more. A bit too far. Great. So that's how easy it is to actually bind the printers. The last option that I haven't shown now is using the account and password. So I could have just logged in using the screen, typed in my email, typed in the password of my team, and that would have done the trick as well. It would have bound the printer to that Raise account. So if I go back here, turn the camera off, we can see now on the overview, we have 2 printers. I have the Raise 3D Pro 2, and I have the E2. Both of them, you can see that via this symbol, are cloud ready. So they're waiting for jobs coming in from the cloud, and they have their cameras turned on, which is this symbol right here. I move over to the dashboard again. We now have, well, 2 printers connected to this team. If I go into my files, this time around, I want to make it a bit more complicated. So we can see in the files as well, it already tells me that this one that I had before, this Frigi, is currently printing. That's the one I did at home. Now, in this case, I want to go into the team files because I want to print something here using these printers. in this case, the E2. And I want to print this little boat here, the Benchy. And it was only uploaded as an STL. So it's not actually ready to print yet. So what we still have to do is slice it. And there's actually an online slicing menu. So when I select slice, I have the option to either open Idea Maker, or I actually slice online using the RaiseCloud solution. If I click on this, you can see that it opens a full-fledged slicing menu. At the bottom right, I need to move out of the way again. I can select which printer I have. In this case, I want to slice for my E2. You can also scroll all the way down, and instead of selecting a generic printer model, I can select the specific printers that I have bound to the RaiseCloud. So in this case, this is the one that I'm currently mousing over, that right there. That's this printer right here. I'm going to select that. So it already knows it has 2 extruders. This is the model that I want. And now I have all the basic Idea Maker options that I have in the software as well. I can add files, delete files, duplicate. I can move it around. I can scale the model. I can rotate the model. So all of these manipulation options are available as well. Put it on the platform, make it center, etc., etc. What is not available via the cloud slicing is Boolean operators, modifiers, textures. So some of these way more advanced functions are limited to the offline version of Idea Maker. But just slicing a general model works perfectly fine here. Now I can click Start, which would start the slicing process. And once again, I can change the file name, I can change my printer type, the materials used, and a slicing profile. Now here, there is best, speed, and normal already pre-set in the RaiseCloud software. And these correspond to the basic 3 profiles that you have in Idea Maker when you download it. I'm just going to go with normal for now. I can still adjust my fill density. I can adjust my shells. The platform support, I want a skirt only and no support. And then I click slice, getting a message that it'll take a minute. Okay, I'll just wait. And now it is done. So great. It is finished, and the sliced model, the G code, will be placed into the folder where I originally had my model. So right here, and now you can see there's a plus now, with a drop down, so it can expand. And there's my G code. And if I click on the model itself, it'll list all the options that it selected once again. And now I want to print this. So I'll just go right here, and I'll click on Print. Once again, I can select which one. I don't want the Pro 2, I want the E2. And then I can select a number. So say, for example, I want to print 5 of these after one another. So I selected 5, and now I click Start Print Now. This job will be printed. Confirm. Now, once again, I have it listed in my jobs as a manual job. The printer is this one right here, the E2, and you can already see that now not only has it gotten the, I'll make it big again, not only has it collected the model information, it is now starting to measure the build plate with the auto calibration, and then it'll actually start printing my model. Great. So it's that easy. I don't need this thumb drive there anymore.